in Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know.
It would help if I put myself on the screen. Hola, bom dia, alegria. Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show. Yes, it is a live stream today. The podcast and the Substack. And also the Portugal Club. Where this morning, and as you can see from the name of the show, I've called it. I've been waiting a long time. I think my first inklings about this started about 40 years ago. But you have to be careful when you make proclamations and estimates or guesstimates about what's going on in the world. So I think 40 years is quite a long time to wait. And there's quite a lot of circumstantial evidence at the moment. Certainly a lot of anecdotal stuff going on, but it would appear things are changing. And my proposition that I'm sharing with you this morning, and I don't know if this is the right word, but with a celebratory live stream. Plus, additional, I have to say, Ben Austin is also joining me to teach you how to speak Portuguese. It's not all gloom and doom. In fact, it's definitely not gloom and doom. I think we are grasping a nettle at the moment, and we will remain supportive, inspiring, and practical. Carl, what are you talking about? You're rambling. Okay, let me go over to the Portugal Club, where this morning I've called it over there, and I'm going to start that ticker tape up because I'm very keen to hear what you think about this. I suspect I'm not alone in this. I think a lot of people are thinking like this, but it's kind of awkward and difficult, isn't it, to speak about it openly necessarily. So let me just read through what I've just penned for the Portugal Club members over at gmpvip.com this morning. Friday, sexta. We're putting the sex in sexta-feira. Yes, don't forget, we are learning to speak Portuguese phonetically with the great Ben Austin. I don't know, about 10 minutes or so. He's joining us on the live stream. And I'd like a few more people to be here so that they can try that out in real life, IRL with him, and try a practical lesson in learning a little bit, or a better grasp on the Portuguese language. Anyway, this is what I wrote only a few minutes ago. I'm calling it from COVID to chaos, and I think it's safe to say we're in that transitionary period now, where we've gone from, well, let me take a step back. When I arrived in 2017, it was the Portuguese paradise. My dream, my 10-year-long dream, was realized to be in Portugal. And oh, the salad days, how wonderful it was in 2017. And then a few years later, 2018, 2019, oh, something odd is happening. Yes, we're all going to be locked in our homes for a few months, and strange draconian things were happening in Portugal. But not only Portugal, it seemed that lockstep around the world, and we went into a new age, did we not, of really on the outer, this strange thing that most of us had never really experienced. And then psychologically, morally, ethically, challenged as well. Things that we hadn't had to sort of really grapple with were right up there, front and center, and we were dealing with them in our own lives. Some of us were reeling from Brexit, only to go into another issue that was going to rip friendships and families apart. And still, I think 5 years later, leaves quite the scar. However, it's time to move on. Never mind about COVID. We're moving into chaos now. And I think one of the reasons I've been emboldened this morning to talk about this is the lover spat between the useful idiots Trump and Musk, of course, over there on the other side of the Atlantic. They've had a falling out, as people suspected. The Musk, has been using his own platform, of course, which he bought for such purposes, to try and besmirch and discredit Trump. That's why the Epstein files haven't come out, isn't it? Because Trump's in them, or so Musk thinks. And Donnie's pushing back as well, saying can't understand why Elon is so upset. Well, he can't sell his electric cars, can he? With the new tax bill and all that sort of stuff. We could really get into that on an individual, specific level of what all those things mean. But to me, they are symptomatic of the chaotic period we're going into, which you could variously describe as a shift, certainly a chaos. And I'll ask Ben what chaos is in Portuguese, because I think it's the same word, funnily enough, and it's going to be the same sort of feeling wherever you are. What you can do in any choppy seas, of course, is adjust your sail. And that's exactly what I'll advise you. Or no, actually, I don't give advice. That's exactly what I will model myself and hope to inspire others to do as well. Set your sail accordingly in these chaotic times on these stormy seas, which could be called a shift, an unraveling, a collapse, or for me, my favorite word around this is a transformation. We're going from one period of humanity to another, I think. Yes, in our lifetime. Some of us have been waiting a long time for this. Others are thinking, oh no, really? I just came here for a quiet retirement. Anyway, we're about to feel this more intensely, I think, but it is not, as I said, all gloom and doom. In reality, it is an opportunity, and it is a reality, not in reality. I mean, this is a reality that's dawning upon us, I think. Bond market collapsing as a result of what's been going on progressively over many decades. It's not just Donny who's can be held up and responsible for this stuff. Certainly, he's the new clown driving the Titanic, but it was a Titanic set on a certain course, nonetheless, many decades ago. As I think we all kind of knew in our hearts, didn't we? But hoped it wouldn't be so. But it looks like that Titanic journey is going to be unraveling before our very eyes. Right. So, what of Portugal? What about being here? That's the kind of Western global picture. I would say Portugal remains a great base to be for this this show that is going to be unfolding before our eyes. It's a good place to be eating the popcorn, you might say. And you've got to be somewhere. You've got to be somewhere. And I think Portugal is as good a place as any to be. It's no longer, like I said, the nirvana, the paradise that I first experienced when I came here. It is changing. There's no question about that. But I think it still remains a great place to be for all sorts of reasons, which I think I'll articulate further, probably on a different occasion, or in the newspaper, or at the Portugal Club here, or in my Substack blog. I don't know. It can't be held back. It's going to come out. It's going to come out somehow. I mean, and having posited that idea and basically come out with it, I feel so much better. I'm very interested to know what your views are too. And on a more prosaic and practical level, let me tell you about the weather, because whilst all of this man-made chaos is going on, the sun is still shining. It will set tonight, God willing, at 20:58. And it will be shining on the righteous in Faro. This is what I report every morning at the Portugal Club. You can sign up at gmpvip.com. The weather this morning in Faro, because we've been touring the districts courtesy of IPMA, that's the meteorological authority for Portugal. Look at that, 19 degrees. That's the low, rising to a high of 33. 0% chance of rain if you're in the Algarve today. And that's at 68 and 96 in the Fahrenheit if you need that. Yeah, and bringing it back to the chaos, although not too bad. However, I will clip a segment from how you can, let's say you're a dollar owner, or you're getting paid, or you're getting your pension in dollars and you want to buy euros. We spoke to Alistair last night from Spartan FX on the Expats Portugal Dream Team Town Hall last night, and he had a great strategy for strategizing against the chaos, basically. And their rates this morning, if you've got a dollar, it'll buy you 0.87 of a euro. And if you've got a pound, it'll buy you 1.18. Both slightly down on yesterday, and the link is there if you want it to find out exactly what the rate is. Right, we'll come back to that. I'd love to hear your comments. I know we're out of the habit of live streaming. There may not be many people watching live right now because, what? Carl, stop doing this. Why is he doing it again? Oh, God, I can't be bothered to put in a message in. But it'd be great if you did put a message into the chat, or if you're seeing this later, let me know exactly what you think. And if you want to see this sort of reporting yourself, sign up at gmpvip.com or use the link that's on the screen now. I'll bring Ben on in just a moment to talk about speaking Portuguese phonetically. But first, let me just find out how you're doing. Woohoo! Look at this. There's commitment for you. Thank you, T-Duck, for that and everything else you do and have done for this wonderful endeavor. 27 months. T-Duck, a member on the YouTube channel. Bom dia, alegria, gumpers, says he. And boa sorte to you, parabéns. Yeah, lots of love to you both there. Have a great time in your situation there. Hola, bom dia todos from Bob. Bob's here as well. Lee McGrady, being really civilized, which is quite the contrast to his appearance on the wine show earlier this week, which I was going to say you could watch that, but if you have a sensitive disposition, you won't want to hear his effing and jeffing that he was partaking in last Monday evening, unbridled as he was by a couple of bottles of white wine, his favourite. JP, I think. Morning to you, Lee, the head gardener. Mel's here. Mel, we'll get back to you. Things are warming up very nicely here in Saúde Martinho and the Wellbeing Project, so definitely we'll be talking to you about that soon and being in touch. Sorry, Haven't been back in touch with your very kind offer, but we will progress that. I think the spat is totally staged. This, of course, would be a view on this, wouldn't it? With the clown show over there in Washington at the moment, with Elon and Donald falling out. We thought Dynasty was a fiction TV melodrama. Well, we don't need those shows anymore. We could just watch the news and politics, can't we, for this sort of nonsense? And yes, talking of Portugal as a great base, here you go, a validation for that. There is nowhere I'd rather be. I'm with you on that. We just moved and signed a 3-year lease. Fantastic. That's what the parabéns and the boa sorte is all about there, T-Duck. Bom dia, rapaziada. We'll find out what that means from Ben as well, if you don't know already. Morning to you, JMC. Apparently, there's a protest in Lisboa against Trump's proposed birthday celebrations next weekend. Really? Come on, guys. Let's party and celebrate life. Not against some idiot over there in the United States who's nothing. Really, he can have very little to do with your life, and you could be living a beautiful life here in Portugal unless you keep stirring it up and upsetting yourself and protesting against his birthday. What a ridiculous protest. Jess, bon dia to you, Jess. And is he celebrating in Portugal? Well, who knows? He might have bought Comporta and celebrating this coming weekend. Nope, just the Americans who want to protest. Personally, I wish it would all stay in the US. Yeah, absolutely. Keep it your side. Notifications do help. Glad to be here for at least a bit. Yes, notification for the live stream. Good morning, everyone. Living in UK, dreaming of living in Portugal. Well, we're happy to help. What's that picture of there? Oh, some cards, a poker player possibly there. Rumit Samaya. It's what we do. We help inspire and support people moving to Portugal. Where have you been, Rumit? How silly to protest here. I agree with you. Bon dia, Gumpers. But some people like that sort of thing, T-Duck, don't they? And, people got to do what they got to do. I'm not saying they shouldn't. I'm just saying I won't be there. Are we ready to build strong, decentralized communities yet? Yay! When do we want them? Now! Time to pull away from controlling adults who act like naughty children. Yes, so true. Well done, Mel. Apparently at locations all over the world. Oh, my goodness. Okay, Lisboa protest. What we push back against, we get more of, in my opinion. Yes, there you go. That's Age of Aquarius thinking, not none of this old Pisces stuff. Yes, retired poker player. You see, I'm slightly psychic as well there, Rumit. Great to have you here. Let's give him a massive round of applause because it's what he deserves. And so I can take a breath and calm down a bit. You were subjected to an absolute tirade there. How are you this morning?
I'm doing most excellent. Thank you, Carl. How are you?
I'm very well. As you can see, a little bit fired up this morning. I think we've definitely moved. I'm calling it. We've officially moved from COVID to chaos. Get your popcorn. What do you think it is as a young man of all I've said there? Does it just sound like the ramblings of an old fool?
No, not at all. I feel very privileged to be in the position that I'm in and be able to just watch everything unfold with my popcorn. Just watch the show.
Well, okay. I'm really pleased to hear that. There's a level of transcendence and objectivity in what you're talking about, because of course a lot of young people could be quite upset and scared by what's going on. I mean, to not just focus completely on the kind of sort of humorous, satirical and silly elements of it. There are some horrible things going on in the world for sure, and that could be very upsetting and even devastating to young people. But you've managed to find a healthy sort of mental health relationship by the sound of it.
Definitely. It's very easy to get all doom and gloom with all the news that's going on nowadays, and I know I'm in a position where it doesn't affect me too much. So just to be able to watch things unravel, have my popcorn, and have a bit of a laugh while I'm going at it as well.
So you don't disagree with my analysis by the sound of it. You do see something of an unraveling taking place of all we've known and held dear for the last decade. Well, you've only got a couple of decades under your belt, I think, haven't you? So, but you do sense this a big change in the world. Is that common among your peer group?
Oh yeah, definitely. We are all quite scared. We don't know how to proceed, so just sit back and laugh. Probably the best way.
You see, you're so British. I think that's quite a British response, I have to say there. It sounds like you won't be protesting on the streets of Lisbon against Donald Trump's birthday.
I think it's a great opportunity to throw a big festa, personally. I think let's get some drinks in, let's get a piñata, let's have a barbecue, do all sorts.
That's amazing. You see, you're definitely Portuguese and British, aren't you? So it's like, oh dear. Another shit show, bloody hell, what are you going to do? You're going to have a laugh about it, ain't you? Monty Python style, always look on the bright side of life.
Cheer up, Brian.
Cheer up, you old bugger. And then in comes the Portuguese bit. Festa!
Festa, woo! Someone playing the accordion.
Exactly. In comes Grandad with an accordion and a barbecue. Next time I'm back in the US, I plan to protest Portuguese bureaucracy. Yeah, stick it to the man, T-Duck. And who cares? We die laughing and with plenty of wine. Do you know, the two words that came to me this morning were die smiling. I like my new Qigong buddy here. I plan to live to 125 and die smiling. That's not a bad strategy, is it? Lead the new Ben. Lead the new. We need young people to step up and create a new society for your future. It's like, nah, it's all right.
I don't know. That's a lot of pressure.
Wine and popcorn.
Wine and popcorn for me. Thank you.
Okay, brilliant. I mean, in all seriousness, I think it would be great for you and those like you with this healthy attitude to be the lead. You can't help but be the new leaders one way or another of the future. However, just to scale it back a little bit from world domination and being the guardians of our future security, learning Portuguese phonetically, what possessed you?
Yes, so
what's that? Ben, let me just set this up correctly. I've got you an intro for this, okay? So I'll ask you that question again as we come back in on the other side of this, what I prepared for you this morning.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know.
It's as if nothing ever happened with all of that earlier setup. Let me welcome to the Good Morning Portugal show, Ben Austin, who is... You're such a pro.
Just start waving, guys.
Did you see what I did there? Learn Portuguese phonetically.
Exactly. That's what we're all about.
Right. So what gave you this idea? Is it because of so many people struggling with the language, all these people doing A2s and they're never speaking it when they're out and about? What's going on?
Exactly. No, I think the way that we're taught languages, whether it be in school or whether it be by taking classes, is completely backwards. I find that with Portuguese especially, you're going to have to learn to manipulate your mouth in such a way and say so many syllables and say so many words that you would never say in English. I do apologize. I did find that quite funny as well.
Yes.
One of those instances where I don't think about what I say before I say it.
Yes, yeah. But you're right. There is a whole sort of gauntlet to run of new oral shapes, you might say.
Exactly. Oral shapes.
Come on, focus.
I apologize. It's too early in the morning for this. I haven't had my coffee. I've got the budget Good Morning Portugal mug. I've only got good.
Right. Okay. Well, we'll do a GoFundMe to get Morning Portugal printed on the other side of that for you.
Please.
Depending on how this goes. So I'm writing phonetically again so that I can put that on the screen. So yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, AI is reminding us, isn't it, that how we do things is kind of like industrial revolution. We've got learning methods dating back to industrial schooling of a good 100 years ago. Things haven't moved on, but maybe they are with you with this new approach. So did you have a sort of aha moment or what prompted it?
Well, I did have a aha moment a few years ago as well, if you remember correctly. I did do a bit of a language course. Then I got bogged down with college and I got bogged down with my work as well at a bar. So I had to stop doing that for a while. Now I've found that with more people coming to Portugal, I thought there's a bit of a market for this. So let's go for it again. I've got a bit of a background with this. It's a system that's worked for me as well, learning things phonetically. I managed to teach myself Italian. I can speak German conversationally as well now, which is
That's
great.
amazing. Okay, so it's tried and trusted in your own personal experience, not just the theory.
In my experience, yes. And
Right.
the other major reason for doing this is when I signed up for being a responsible adult, I didn't realize, quite frankly, how important money is. This elusive concept.
Oh, bless you. Well, if it comes as any consolation, I still haven't quite grasped that lesson. It can come quite awkwardly to some of us. But yeah, sorry to hear that, mate. I sympathise.
Yeah, no, apparently it comes in the form of paper and coin. I just don't seem to have any.
You will. I think with a brilliant mind like yours and ideas like this, keep going. And
Fingers
I
crossed.
think those bits of paper and coins, that's if they're still allowed. Excuse me, in the coming years, or to put it another way, I'm sure the digital currency will be pouring into your digital wallet as long as you don't misbehave and have it limited in some way by the World Economic Forum.
And that's a big if.
You know, back in the day, Grandad would say, "Work hard, lad, and you'll earn plenty of money." Now he has to say, "Well, be careful with your social credit score." Hopefully not. Get thee back, Satan. Right, sorry. Learning Portuguese phonetically. Come on.
Yes, exactly. Back on track. So I have prepared a little activity for us today. That the let's see. Can I share my screen here?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Here we go. Share screen.
All right, I'll stop sharing. And whilst you're finding that, agree,
right,
Ben, says Mel, in native language, you learn to speak it by mimicking the first 5 years. Mama, cake, etc. Then go back and do grammar structure, not the other way around, as we learn Portuguese. So true. And my Portuguese language training is apparently kicking in. I spoke an English word to Viv yesterday with the accent on the penultimate syllable. Padaria. Very good. And Paul Richards, congratulations. I think a big wedding anniversary. How to make $1 million. Start with 2 million. There's some financial advice for you. I think that's how Paul might have done it. Well done, Paul, on your great marital milestone. And I think recent birthday wishes as well to you. All the celebrations you're having, I hope they're excellent for you in the Algarve, where the sun is shining today. Okay, we've got it. Live stream lesson. Let's take
Here we go. Perfect. Right, now, I can't... Unfortunately, my entire screen's now been taken up by this, so I can't see your face, Carl, or the comments coming in, so you're going to have to be my eyes and ears in that regard.
Some say that's a blessing, so go ahead.
So what I propose a little, got a little proposition here for the comments section as well. Give me some words and sentences you struggle with in Portuguese, and let's work through them together. Or even something in English that you'd like to know in Portuguese.
Yeah, great. Okay. You heard the man, Paul, because Paul had the ear kettle, I think it was called, where it was a simultaneous translator. I think that's probably the future. We probably won't have to learn languages because of AI at some point. There'll be a sort of Tower of Babel type communicator that we'll all be linked to, and this will be seen as a sort of arcane esoteric matter, but for the time being I think we should carry on learning in the progressive way you describe here. So where are we going to the restaurant first? That's a good start.
Restaurar. Restaurar is a word that means to restore. So I've got a series of words here, very, all covered in black, very elusive at the moment, which are words I find people struggle to pronounce phonetically, and they're filled with syllables. I've left a little guide up here for myself. So with these words, we're going to learn the 2 R's. We're going to learn how to pronounce ow versus ow. Yes. And we're going to learn different types of A's as well.
Oh, go on, man. Yeah, we're with you.
Should we crack on? Do we have like a drum roll sound or something we could use here just to build up the tension a little bit?
It's got cobwebs on it. Friday. No, that's not it.
You know,
that's not it. That's not it. No. Let me work. And now, ladies and gentlemen,
we'll work with what we have.
We'll go with what we got. Okay.
All right. Okay. The twinkle sound was quite nice. We'll just pretend that just played there.
Yes.
So, first word, desfrutar.
Desfrutar. Okay. And we want people to repeat this at home, don't we?
We want people to, if people can try pronounce it as they go along, talk to your screen. Don't be worried about looking a bit dodgy. No one's watching. And
you always look like that anyway. Newsflash.
Exactly. So I'm just going to break this down into syllables. Desfrutar. So we start off with the standard D sound in Portuguese, a soft E, and the J, the sort of weird S that people seem to struggle with Portuguese as well. So des would be our first syllable. Fru. Fru, we're touching on something quite important here. Not a lot of people realize that there are 2 types of R in Portuguese. In English, we only get one, really. If we think of an English word with an R in it, nothing's coming to mind at the moment. But
Robalo.
No. That's an English word. Yeah.
Rubber.
Rubber, exactly. You'll notice that we have our R sound is just a R, the standard R. In Portuguese, we have 2. We have the guttural R, which is usually sounded when 2 R's are put together, or an R at the start of the word, which is kind of like a R almost. If you do your worst French accent possible, you will get there.
Oh, what fun! Like Sacha Distel or Charles Aznavour or somebody like that.
Exactly, some sort of Monty Python. You silly English pig dog, I fart in your general direction. Yeah, the R will naturally come out like that.
We're enjoying this already. We're loving these lessons. Okay,
exactly.
Of the Python.
So here in this instance, we have the second R, which is the rolled R. So instead of coming from the back of the throat and creating a sort of guttural sound like a R, we're going to roll the tongue and we're going to do a bit of a R.
R. Okay.
R. So desfrutar.
Desfrutar.
Tar. And then our last syllable here, tar, we're getting a bit of a harder, more pressed A. We've got an A. So desfrutar.
Desfrutar.
Usually when you have an A in a word, it will have a accent on top of it, like so. But sometimes Portuguese can be a sneaky language, and we'll get one in there where no one sees.
Yes, you turn your back and suddenly there's a bloody accent on something. Yes.
Exactly, where you least expect it. A bit like the
Yes.
Spanish Inquisition.
Or if we stay with the sort of film motifs that people have, it's like Kato in the Pink Panther, isn't it?
Exactly.
There's an accent hiding in a cupboard somewhere.
Exactly, and if you want to pronounce the guttural R, you just do your best. Oh God, what was he called? Peter Sellers doing Jean Clouseau.
This is great. This is really, really helpful. These are connections people can make, and their neural pathways are joyously lighting up as they learn Portuguese.
Okay, so back on point now. Desfrutar. Trying to bring it in, otherwise I'm going to go off on a tangent, and we're going to spend half an hour talking about Peter Sellers. So desfrutar.
The Pavlova of the parallel bars. Sorry, go on.
He falls off the thing afterwards.
Okay, I'm going to mute myself because this is not.
Okay, so desfrutar in Portuguese also means to enjoy. That's the first word here. So breaking it down again. Desfrutar. De, remember, soft E, fru, rolled R, then tar at the end. Hard A with a rolled R again. Okay. Right, moving on to our next word now. We have, I'm going to imagine there's some sort of drum roll, dramatic build-up. Dun, 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 dun. Correr.
What excellent effects you brought for us.
Thank you. You know, I know I can't rely on you for these things, so I just I brought my own. I've got my own bag of home remedies.
I'll see what I can do.
Correr. So let's break this down to syllables again. Cool. And I think we can keep this, although it's a bit long, we can keep rir as one because it's only a handful of sounds here. So cool, we're going in sort of soft, back of the mouth kind of O, which sounds like a U. I know that's concept that's hard to get your head around.
Yes,
cool.
But obrigado. We've learned that from obrigado, haven't
exactly, we? Obrigado, which has two different types of O, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that later. And funnily enough, cool is also another word for arse in Portuguese, except you spell it with a U. So that's a useful word to know.
It is value right there.
Exactly. After this, we're getting into something a bit more complicated, especially if you're not used to pronouncing the two R's in Portuguese. So we have the r, the guttural R, the two R's in a row. And then we have a kind of pressed E. Yeah. So correr. And then right at the end of that, after doing the guttural R, a weird E, you're going to have to do a rolled R. So it gets a bit complicated. Correr.
Correr. Okay.
Correr. We're almost there.
Correr.
We're almost there with it. Correr.
Correr.
Maybe if I put an extra...
I found the drum roll now.
Separator.
We will eventually get sick of this, but I found it. Well, tell me when you're ready. I've got the drum roll ready.
Okay. Well, when we're ready when we move on. So, broke it down to three parts. I think it makes more sense like this. Correr.
Correr. Okay, yes.
Correr. You're kind of pronouncing a bit guttural towards a roll with the last R at the end. The last R is a rolled R. Yeah. Think like Manuel from Fawlty Towers.
See, Mr. Faulty. Yes, okay, yes, I'm there. Okay.
Exactly. You have to roll the R.
Okay. It's a rat. It's a rat.
Exactly, it's a rat.
Mr. Faulty, it's a rat. Okay, yeah, got it.
So we got the Peter Sellers R, and we got the Manel from Fawlty Towers.
Learning Portuguese through British comedy. This is another level now.
Yeah, I've just improved my business model now. We're no longer doing it phonetically. We're now doing it through classic comedies. Wait till we get to Only Fools and Horses. You're going to crack up. Okay, so I think we're ready for another drum roll. Oh, by the way, correr means to run. It would help if I actually explained the meanings of the words as well, instead of just throwing them at you and telling you how to pronounce them.
Very good. Here we go.
Here we go. Alcançar!
Oh no! From Fawlty Towers? How can I help you?
Alcançar, right. Alcançar means to achieve, and if we break this down into different syllables, we can break it down to three parts. Al.
Yes. Okay, really getting this now.
Okay. Al, which is easy enough to pronounce, a kind of a hard accented A with an L, slight L at the end. Al. Can. A bit like the English can, but instead of a pressed A, we're going to just soften it a little bit. And sad, whenever we get this funny little C with a squiggle at the bottom in Portuguese, it's pronounced as a S, as opposed to a k, almost as if you had a K sound. Usually when you get the C without it, it'll be like a k sound.
Yeah.
So altogether, we have alcançar.
Alcançar. Okay. Very
Exactly. Perfect. And you rolled your R. You did the little Manel R at the end there.
Yeah, it's in the muscle with humor. It's the great way to learn, isn't it?
Exactly. And the great thing about this is you'll get used to pronouncing all these sounds. That's the idea with this. I want people for this to be sort of muscle memory to them, pronouncing this rolled R, pronouncing the guttural R, knowing the different types of E. And when you go out in public as well, you'll hear people pronounce these sounds. You'll be able to copy words a lot better and a lot more efficiently too.
Yes.
Because there's no point in teaching you all the grammar. There's no point in teaching you how to conjugate verbs if you can't pronounce them.
Exactly. And this is why people study for weeks, if not months, and then still go into the cafe and bottle it at the last minute, don't they? And say, do you speak English, Scooper? Yeah.
Exactly. You have to learn how to listen to a language, learn how to learn it properly. I have to break down what I just said there. You have to learn how to listen to a language to learn it properly. There we go. That made sense.
You're absolutely right. And as Mel said, this is how children learn. You know, it's kind of obvious, isn't it? The children are immersed in the family, listening for words, needing to communicate. The parents are also encouraging them, just keep saying things to them, like say it, say mama, say cake or whatever. And they say it, and they get a massive round of applause, don't they? That's how we learn.
Exactly. And you make a very good point. You know, when you come here at a younger age, like I did, I was about, 4, 5, 6, I don't remember. It was a while ago now, when I came here. And I grew up around the language. I managed to absorb it. However, since then, I've also been in the position where I've had to, teach myself a language. I had to teach myself Italian. I've had to learn German. I lived in both those countries for a little bit.
Yes.
So I can sympathize with someone who's come to Portugal, doesn't know much of the language, and is just trying to get through it. Little tips and tricks I picked up along the way.
Yes, Ben, there is a bit of an emergency at this end. Now, sorry to cut you off abruptly, but I think we've got enough there to get going. And will you come back? Can we do this on a regular basis?
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, because that is a fantastic introduction. I'm aware that I distracted you far too much with British comedy references and my rant at the beginning. But I think definitely we should leave people wanting more. I certainly do. Okay, Azora. Okay, and so I've got an abrupt finish here that I have to enact for you. It's a time of chaos. I did say, didn't I? Chaotic time. So thank you very much for that introduction. Thank you everybody for being with us this morning. And we will return, right? So we'll do this on a monthly basis with you, or maybe more often than that, so we can really get the ball rolling here.
Twice a month, if you want, I'd be happy with that. I can bring some content forward. I'll bring some more old British comedy references as well.
You absolute legend. Thank you everybody for joining the live stream this morning. Thank you, Ben, very much. And so sorry to cut you short, but okay. I beg your forbearance, patience, and forgiveness. And we'll see you again soon. Could you give us a phonetic goodbye?
Yes, I could say adeus. And if you're interested in learning Portuguese language phonetically, I am now on Facebook again. I don't like using Facebook very much, but I'm now back on it. Just Ben Austin on Facebook.
Marvellous. Cheers, Ben. Take care, everybody. Bom fim de semana.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show